The Amazon. Just the name itself, right? It brings up these images of a vast, impenetrable jungle, a place of myth and legend. But it's also a place with some very real and very strange secrets. And our story, well, it kicks off with a discovery from space that just shouldn't have been possible.
So picture this. It's February 2021. High above the Earth, NASA's International Space Station snaps a picture. And it's an image that, honestly, seems to defy all logic. It was one of those sights that completely baffled scientists, and you can imagine it just lit up the internet with all kinds of wild theories. Because from way up there in orbit, this is what they saw. These bright, shimmering, golden rivers just winding their way through that deep green carpet of the rainforest. I mean, it looked like something straight out of a fantasy movie, sparkling as they caught the sun.
But come on, we all know they weren't actually rivers of liquid gold, right? So the big question, the one everyone was asking was, what on earth were they? And the answer, it turns out, was way more complicated and, frankly, way more disturbing. And that's because these weren't rivers of gold at all. They were actually golden scars. And once you understand what they are, it really opens up this much bigger story. The story of the Amazon's incredible scale and just how vital it is for every single one of us on this planet.
So each one of those shiny rivers, it wasn't a river at all. It was actually a chain of thousands and thousands of water-filled pits. Yeah, they were dug by an estimated 30,000 illegal gold miners who had just ripped through the landscape, leaving behind these polluted pools that just so happened to catch the sunlight perfectly for a NASA satellite passing overhead.
Now, to really get the impact of this, you got to wrap your head around the sheer scale we're talking about. The Amazon rainforest covers a massive 5.5 million square kilometers. To put that into perspective for you, you could cram 7 countries the size of Pakistan inside it and still have room left over. It's just immense.
And this gigantic forest isn't just one country's backyard either. It actually stretches across 9 different nations. But as you can see, the lion's share, a whopping 60%, is all within Brazil's borders.
Okay, so why does any of this matter to you or me living maybe thousands of miles away? Well, it all comes down to this number. A flat-out, staggering 20% of all the oxygen on Earth is produced right here. It's not just some jungle. It is, quite literally, the lungs of our planet.
But here's the thing about the Amazon. For all the life it gives the world, it's also home to some of the most deadly creatures you can possibly imagine. This is a place where breathtaking beauty and just absolute lethality are two sides of the very same coin.
Let's start up high, in the canopy, with the undisputed master of the Amazonian sky, the harpy eagle. And let me tell you, this is no ordinary bird. It's an apex predator, through and through. Just to give you an idea of its power, check this out. A harpy eagle's talons can grow to be 5 inches long. That is longer than the claws of a fully grown grizzly bear. Seriously, they're strong enough to literally snatch sloths and even small deer right out of the trees.
All right, let's head down from the sky to the forest floor, where you might find this little guy. It's called the golden poison dart frog. It might look like a tiny, beautiful jewel, but it is, without a doubt, one of the most toxic animals on the entire planet.
How toxic are we talking? Well, the poison that comes out of the skin of just one of these little frogs is powerful enough to kill 10 grown men. It's a pretty harsh reminder that in the Amazon, the most beautiful, colorful things are often the most deadly.
And of course, you can't talk about the dangers of the Amazon without talking about its most legendary resident, the green anaconda, the biggest, heaviest snake in the entire world.
The stats on this creature are they're mind-blowing. It can get up to 30 feet long and weigh over 250 kilograms. It's not venomous because, frankly, it doesn't need to be. It kills by constriction. It just wraps that massive body around its prey, we're talking caimans, deer, even jaguars, and just squeezes the life right out of them.
But the dangers aren't just on the land. The rivers that cut through this huge jungle, they're just as packed with wonder, with mystery, and with terror. For example, deep in the jungle, there is a river that actually boils. Its temperature gets up to nearly 100 degrees Celsius, hot enough to cook anything that falls in. Now, what's so weird about this is that most boiling rivers are heated by volcanoes, but the closest one here is over 600 kilometers away. It's still a total geothermal mystery. And then you have the main event itself, the Amazon River.
To really grasp its power, just look at this chart. The amount of water it pumps out is about the same as the next 5 largest rivers in the world combined. It's a force of nature on a scale that is just hard to even wrap your mind around.
And hiding in those waters is the electric eel, which is armed with one of nature's most, well, shocking defense mechanisms. It can generate a massive electrical jolt of up to 860 volts. That's more than enough to stun its prey or send a very clear back-off message to any predator.
And the king of these waters? That would be the black caiman. Growing up to 20 feet long, this absolute monster of a crocodilian sits at the very top of the river's food chain. It's powerful enough to take on anacondas and even jaguars if they get a little too close to the water's edge.
So, okay, we've seen eagles with talons bigger than a bear's claws, frogs that can kill you with a touch, and snakes that can swallow crocodiles whole. But after all of that, what is the single greatest, deadliest predator in the entire Amazon?
The answer, sadly, is us. The single biggest threat to the Amazon rainforest and to absolutely everything that lives there is human activity.
And this is the real cost. In just the last 50 years, mostly because of things like cattle ranching and logging, 20% of the entire Amazon rainforest has been chopped down and destroyed. Those rivers of gold that we saw at the start, they aren't some beautiful, strange phenomenon. They are a symptom of a much, much bigger problem.
Which really leaves us with one final, sobering thought. The jungle is absolutely packed with predators, every one of them perfectly adapted to survive. But when you look at the scale of the destruction, you really have to ask yourself, who is the real apex predator on this planet?